Part 8, forgiveness. Seems like forgiving human is one of those doggy things we're supposed to do, like having zoomies or doing bed boogies. It's written into our canon souls. Well, somehow I didn't get the memo. The one that apparently went out to every other dog on the planet about forgiveness. Why should I forgive the human who tossed me and my sibling out into the night? When you forgive, you lose your anger. And when you lose your anger, you get weak. And when you are weak, you can get hurt all over again. The art of human watching. By the time we reach the park, the sky is definitely in a bad mood. Gray clouds galloping like panicked horses. The nervous scent of rain on the way. The kind that makes you antsy in your own skin. When we get near the employee entrance, I hop into Julia's backpack, like always. We enter through the special gate where George shows his ID, checks in, and says hi to the staff. Pet dogs aren't allowed at the park. Natch, foxes, wolves, jackals. My dog cousins? They are. But in my opinion, even though they're technically part of my extended family, they're nothing like dogs. Only dogs have perfected the art of human watching. The smartest thing we ever did was figure out how important the human gaze is. So often, when we follow our owner's eyes, we are rewarded with something amazing. A smelly sock, a glazed donut, a glazed donut that fallen on a smelly sock. We follow every blink, every sidelong glance. We see it, whatever it is, before humans do. We understand before they do. And if there's a glazed donut involved, we eat it before they do. Puppy eyes. It is mind morning, still pretty early. Oh, sorry. It's mid morning, still pretty early. There aren't many visitors around yet. We've got a meeting in 20, George tells a couple workers, Hank and Sonia, who groan. Just a quick one, going over contingency plans one last time in case there's any flooding. During the last hurricane, a small part of the park flooded, mostly near Reptileville. George helped move cages. He came home smelling like cotton mouths and copperheads. It was all I could do not to barf. Weather Service just issue a tornado watch, Hank says. I thought we were having a hurricane, Julia says. We are, Gus. But sometimes tornadoes are spawned during hurricanes, George explains. Julia frowns. But a watch means maybe, not for sure, right? Yeah, but I want you to head home, George says, just in case. Please, Dad. Just 10 minutes, Julia says. She's using the special voice she reserved for moments when she really, really wants something from her parents. I guess kids manipulate their parents, their mom and dads, the same way dog manipulates humans. I don't know, George begins. I promised Bob. I figure that my cue to pop my head out and look adorable, so I do. Hey, Bob, said Hank. Sonia reaches over and scratches my ears. I'm pretty popular around the park. I give George my best puppy eyes, and he caves. 10 minutes tops, he says. Meet me back here. Puppy eyes. Works every time. Mr. Woog. Here's how I figure puppy eyes got their start. Cave humans were sitting around a fire, wearing mammoth fur and grunting about how there was nothing on TV because they hadn't been invented yet. And some wily wolf thought, whoa, they've got leftover mammoth meat. And he probably whimpered and cowered and did a tummy display and looked pathetic enough that Mr. Woog finally tossed him a bone. And soon enough, a few zillion years later, voila, men's best friend. After all that time, there's a thing like a magnetic attraction between dogs and humans. We've studied them for so long we can read every twitch and sigh. Suppose it was easier than chasing down mammoth. And I get it, I do. The behind the ear scratches, the food in a fancy bowl, the bed by the fireplace. Gotta admit that Julia's pretty fun to hang out with. And I'm grateful. Really, I am. That her family took me in. Still, I don't need them. You need someone, eventually, they let you down, and you end up feeling like a real doofus. The park. As Julia walks, I sneak peeks out of her backpack like I always do. We pass the meerkat family poking out from their den holes like the whack-a-mole game they used to have at Max Mall. I see the flashy flamingos with their one-legged balancing act and the terrifyingly beautiful tigers. Even their cute cubs give me the willies. Families, I've noticed, take a lot of different shapes. Jim and Joe, the penguins, adopted an abandoned egg, and they are the sweetest dotting parents you ever saw. I see it with humans at the park too. Families of all shapes and sizes and colors and genders, and yet they all seem to do just fine. We round the corner past Sea Otter Alley. Oliver and Olivia are floating calmly in their backs, holding each other's paws. It's pretty adorable, I have to admit. But me, I don't need the trouble that comes with family. Babies puking, toddlers whining, spouses nagging. Talk about a design flaw. Change. The park's pretty big. Lots of twisty path and fascinating smells. All the parts have names. There's the African Aviary, the Outback Penguin Cove, and Lemurland. It's like puzzle pieces of the world. A little Africa here, a little Asia there. Dogs, you can find us pretty much everywhere. Our territory is Earth. As long as we are hooked up with humans, that is. Along the shady paths, volunteer guides will answer your questions. They'll tell you about how animals used to roam one part of the world or another until things change. Things change. That's one thing I've figured out. Don't ever assume a little patch of the planet belongs to you. Things change. Boxes go flying.